Chapter 30. Sati's casting off of her body and the subsequent disorder. Narada, filled with curiosity and concern, posed a poignant question to Brahma. O Lord of creation, when Sati, the beloved of Shiva, fell silent amidst the tumultuous gathering, what transpired thereafter? Please recount the events with clarity. Brahma, his voice heavy with gravity, began narrating the events that followed. Sati, overwhelmed by anguish and righteous indignation, calmed herself, retreating to the northern wing of the sacrificial arena. There, seated gracefully on the ground, she composed her mind, invoking the memory of her lord, Shiva. Resolute in her purpose, she prepared for a spiritual act of immense significance. With unwavering discipline, Sati performed the ritual act of sipping water to purify herself. Draping her entire form in her garments, she closed her eyes, surrendering to the profound stillness of meditation. Her thoughts focused solely on her lord. She ascended into a yogic trance. In this meditative state, she steadied her breath and harmonized the vital winds within her body. Controlling prana and apana, she expertly lifted the udana wind from her navel region to her heart. From there, she guided it to her throat, finally fixing it at the midpoint between her brows, the seat of supreme consciousness. Sati, filled with fiery determination and righteous anger against her father Daksa's blasphemous behavior, resolved to renounce her body. Fixated on the sacred feet of Shiva, she desired nothing of this world, seeking only liberation. Her body, purified through the intensity of her yogic fire, was consumed in flames, reducing itself to ashes as per her wish. The assembly, witnessing this extraordinary act, was thrown into chaos. Loud cries of "Ha! Ha!" erupted, reverberating across the heavens and earth. The devas, sages, and other celestial beings stood in stunned silence, their hearts gripped with fear and wonder. The air was thick with despair and condemnation. "Alas," they cried, "Sati, the cherished consort of Shiva, has forsaken her mortal form. Who is the vile perpetrator who dared to insult her?" Their voices rose in unison, echoing their collective grief and fury. One among them exclaimed, "Behold the heinous deed of Daksa, the patriarch. He, the son of Brahma and lord over all beings, has disgraced himself by insulting his own daughter, the goddess herself. Surely he will be condemned to the darkest hell for his arrogance and irreverence toward the divine." Another lamented, "Sati, the noble and pure-hearted consort of the bull-bannered Shiva, deserved honour, not humiliation. Daksa's hardened heart and his enmity toward the eternal Brahman will bring ruin upon him." As these cries filled the air, Sati's attendants, fierce and loyal, erupted in fury. Numbering 60,000, they had stood at the entrance of the sacrificial arena, witnessing the tragic events unfold. Gripping their weapons tightly, they roared in anger, their cries of "Ha! Ha! Fie upon Daksa!" piercing the heavens. Grief-stricken and enraged, many attendants turned their weapons upon themselves in an act of ultimate loyalty. Around 20,000 of these steadfast followers chose to follow Sati into death, a sight both heart-wrenching and awe-inspiring. Those who survived, consumed by their righteous anger, charged into the sacrificial arena, ready to avenge their mistress. Their weapons gleamed, and the air trembled with their war cries. The devas and sages, struck with terror, sought refuge in silence. At this moment, the sage Bhrigu, with calculated resolve, performed a counter-ritual. He offered sacred oblations into the sacrificial fire, invoking the power of the Ubhus, a formidable class of demons. These beings, granted power through Bhrigu's Brahminical authority, arose in countless numbers, wielding fiery weapons. A ferocious battle ensued between the Ubhus and Shiva's attendants. The clash of arms and the cries of warriors created a terrifying spectacle. One by one, the loyal followers of Shiva fell, overpowered by the supernatural strength of the Ubhus. Their defeat seemed preordained, a silent act of Shiva's inscrutable will. As the attendants retreated in disarray, the devas, led by Vishnu and the guardians of the quarters, convened in a state of distress. Realizing the gravity of the situation, they deliberated on how to prevent further catastrophe. Their hearts weighed heavy with the fear of Shiva's inevitable wrath and the consequences of Daksa's arrogance. Thus, the sacrifice of Daksa, meant to glorify the gods, descended into chaos and destruction, tainted by his enmity toward Shiva and his refusal to honor Sati. It became a harbinger of doom, not only for Daksha, but for all who partook in his sacrilege. Brahma paused, his voice trembling as he concluded, "Such was the tragic course of events, O Narada, a grim reminder of the peril of disregarding the divine."